What I'm
University.
hearing is your pastoral studies background. Now, there's some members of our audience who may not know what pastoral studies is. So can you describe what you studied when you were getting your pastoral degree?
Sure. Loyola University of Chicago has a wonderful Institute of Pastoral Studies. After my mother died, I had this deeper calling to look into something. I was a corporate recruiter. I did career placement. I loved working with people with their work. Freud, I think, said love and work are the two most important things. And I loved working with people with their work, but I got tired of hustling jobs for people, really. A lot of it was that. And I felt this call to something deeper. And so I looked into this program, and the Enneagram training and certification is offered in the program. I didn't know much about it, but when I took it, it sort of had a neon light around it, you know, an energy that I was supposed to work with it.
Did you study religion courses?
Oh, we took all different things. Yes, some of my favorite classes were not religion, though, in the way that you think of it, religion. I don't think feminist theology would have been like a very favorite of mine. You know, at Marquette, I had lots of theology classes and ethics and philosophy, and at Loyola, you can make up your master. It's called a Master of Arts in Pastoral Studies. So it goes from everything from scripture to, as I said, the Enneagram, feminist theology.
Well, tell me how you use the Enneagram in your life. Do you use the Enneagram on a daily basis?
I use the Enneagram in my marriage when my husband, who is a 9 and a peaceful type, when he goes to the low side of 9, I know what's going on with him more than before. I can say he is going into a self-forgetting mode. You know, his emotional passion is his, what we call a tendency.
So when you say self-forgetting, he's not maintaining his peaceful nature.
Right.
And is it possible for us to be true to our nature at all times, at all places, with all people?
And you know, that is such a great question, because Jerry Wagner, when we learned all about the Enneagram, I remember raising my hand and saying, this is so deep, this is so heavy. I mean, it's so exciting to see that we can reach our potential, and by learning all of this, and it can help us grow spiritually, but if our personalities are the way they are from the time we're 4, how do we really get out of these habitual kinds of things? And he said, oh, we do it about a minute a month. But he was answering to a stressful question with a comic, little comic relief. I'm out here for a minute an hour. I'm out here to raise my consciousness, your consciousness, anyone who wants to have their consciousness raised more than a minute a month, a minute an hour. We can grow, we can change.
Okay, now you mentioned the low side. So does each point have a low side to it?
Right.
And if it does, can you describe it for us?
Well, what it is each type, the good, the loving, and the effective, original, wise, loyal, joyful, powerful, and peaceful. All of those types, in a workshop, you would learn what your resourceful characteristics are and your non-resourceful characteristics. You would learn all of the gifts and the true value that you bring to the table of life.
Now,
and
what number are you?
I'm a 7.
Okay.
I'm the joyful type.
Okay. And so what are some of your resources?
Okay, I could talk about it in terms of that. The 7 is the gift of the one of the gifts of the 7 is that we see essence, we see light. We are very that is really the true gift that we bring to the table. We are truly as interested in you as we seem we are to be. The things that go with light, fun, vivacious, joyful, exciting, maybe motivating.
Okay, I was going to ask, can you give some examples of some joyful celebrities, the 7 type?
Well, sometimes I look at Oprah Winfrey and wonder if she isn't a 7. Though she could be a 2, because the 2 and the 7 have outgoing, optimistic looks toward life. And so I'm not sure on her. You know, Dr. Phil would be an 8, the powerful type, you know, in your face kind of.
Really?
It's fun. The Enneagram is also fun because you can use it once you learn all this to, you know, Jerry Wagner, for example, said he's a 5, and he said, you know, I love my wife and daughter very much. The wise type is the 5, the ivory tower type. They're bookish. They're very, very
so he
smart.
chose his career wisely.
Right, but he said, I love my wife and daughter very much, but somehow I feel closer to them when I'm in the other room. Mm-hmm. You know, the intimacy is difficult for the 5.
Yeah.
Can be.
Okay. And what are some of the low sides of the other ones?
Well,
and how did you define the low side of the peaceful?
Well, the low side of what it is each type has an emotional passion. And that isn't used the way we use passion when we say follow your passion. Emotional passions are neither right nor wrong. We used to call them the 7 deadly sins. But emotional passion is the tendency that you have that is repeated, and it doesn't always get you to the places you want to go. In other words, self-forgetting is the peaceful type's emotional passion. When they are in this emotional passion, it is usually because they are in an area of avoidance, right? Their area of avoidance, I beg your pardon, their emotional passion is sloth or self-forgetting. Their area of avoidance is conflict. So,
because they want to stay peaceful.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if they claim their area of avoidance and they claim and embrace the conflict and say, I really don't like conflict very much, but I have to figure out a way how to work through it, then their emotional passion isn't driving them, they're driving it. They're the master of their own ship.
Well, excuse me if I play a devil's advocate. People with anxiety disorder, one of the symptoms is they avoid conflict, or it's actually anxiety associated with the basal ganglia region of the brain. Mm-hmm. So, you know, is it the Enneagram, or is it what's going on in the brain that they're avoiding the conflict?
See, the Enneagram, I don't know how it works on people. I don't think it is necessarily I think it is, let's say it positively, it is for people that are in a healthy state. There's maladaptive all the way to very adaptive, right? Yeah. Most of us, with regard to emotional health. I mean, Charles Manson and Mother Teresa could have been the same personality type for all we know, you know. So most of us are somewhere in the middle, you know. I don't know how to answer the question about
Speaking of Charlie Manson, could you pick out which one he was?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't know him well enough.
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I started to read a book on the Enneagram. It's complicated. It's insightful. It's beneficial. But I also know it takes a while to master. How many years were you involved with the Enneagram before you felt like you mastered it?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
I know you're still improving because I know you.
That's right. I mean, it is an onion, and you can unravel it probably my whole life long. The semester course at Loyola, you know, is that, so tonight people are going to get obviously the tip of the iceberg because you can take a course in it in terms of a master's program. So how long has it taken me to get this comfortable that I would be willing to let you interview me about it? 7 years, 6 or 7 years. And I've done workshops with Helen Palmer, who is, you know, I'd say the West Coast kind of guru. I love her. She's brilliant.
Is she in San Francisco area?
Berkeley.
Okay.
She wrote many of them, but I would recommend the Pocket Enneagram.
My friend is taking an ongoing study group with her.
She has a critical mind. She said to me once, in my next life I'm going to come back as a 7, and I said, I want the incredibly critical mind of the 6, because, you know, the 6 is very, very vigilant. They would be the one on the Titanic. If we were all having a great time on the Titanic, you know, they would have been the one to find the iceberg. You know, the 7 might have been at the bar or having a good discussion, problem solving the world, you know.
Singing at the piano.
Singing at the piano.